Okay, so now we move to the comment of our panelists. We start with the European Parliament, Mr. Tabajdi. You made a lot of changes to the Commission's proposals in the Parliament. Does that mean you're not entirely happy with the way it's going, or could you tell us, please, in 8 minutes?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Concerning the greening, it is the most important tool before the society to prove, to make legitimate, to preserving more or less, mainly less, the budget of the common agricultural policy. At the same time, it is a most controversial issue in the European Parliament. If I quote the figures of the vote about the greening in the Agro Committee, it was a very tight vote by 20 votes to 21. The Committee on Agriculture begged the compromise struck on greening the CAP. And the next week, nobody knows what would be the final result on the plenary session, because they are through extremities. The European People's Party and Liberals are insisting concerning the ecological focus area on maximizing at 3%. There is a compromise adapted by a very tight, during this very tight vote, which contains a graduality. Thanks to this graduality, we can achieve the 7% of the ecological focus areas proposed by the European Commission, but it is not clear at present stage whether on the plenary this compromise amendment can receive the majority. Because of the, not only because of the European People's Party, EPP and Liberals, who don't want more than 3%, at the other hand, the Greens and some part of the Socialists are very insatisfied with this graduality. They have a radical position, and we cannot foresee whether this compromise amendment will receive the majority in European Parliament. Concerning the other two elements of the greening, the diversifying crops and creating permanent pastures, there is no big debate. Concerning the proposal of the European Commission, we made the proposals of the, submitted by the Commission more nuanced, more sophisticated, in my opinion, more realistic. What does it mean? Concerning the crop, concerning the limit of the greening, only farmers of more than 10 hectares, rather than the Commission proposal of more than 3 hectares, must apply the new greening measures. Concerning the crop diversification, farmers should we made a differentiation between the size of the farms. Farmers should cultivate at least 2 crops rather than 3 on arable area covering between 10 to 30 hectares. On farms with arable area above 30 hectares, farmers should cultivate at least 3 crops, exempting holdings in North Scandinavia. Concerning the ecological focus area, I have just mentioned it is a most debated issue because there is a position of the European People's Party and Liberals. There is a present but very fragile majority thanks to the Socialists and some Liberals, and there is a radical green demands to start not by 3%, the ecological focus area, by 7%. And plus the position of the European Council. The last summit had conclusions, and these conclusions even more serious than the European People's Party position, because the conclusions of the last European Council had the following sentence: the requirement to have an ecological focus area on each agricultural holding will be implemented in ways that do not require the land in question to be taken off production and that avoids unjustified losses in the income of farmers. In principle, the Agro Committee agrees with it. Why we are suggesting to start by 3% in 2013, in the first year of the new Common Agricultural Policy, 2016 to increase to 5%, and stop there, for having an impact assessment on behalf of European Commission to see what can be the impact on the protection of the environment at one hand, what can be impact on the agricultural production, because the Committee on Agriculture should have taken into consideration completely new developments in Europe. When the European Commission has submitted its proposal, it was not clear what would be the budget for the European agriculture. First time in the history of the European agricultural budget, nominally will be reduced by 11%. And we are arguing in the Agro Committee in the European Parliament. At one hand, we should say to the farmers, you will receive less money, but you have to fulfill more environmental requirements. Why in the Agro Committee we are trying to preserve the essence of the greening, I mean the ecological focus area, but in a gradual way, because we should take into consideration that the direct payments in the majority of the member states will be decreased, in the old member states even more, because of the external convergence. For the farmers of Netherlands, Denmark, Germany, France, it will be even, the reduction will be even more because of the external or internal convergence. Plus, the competition will be even stronger because of some international agreements, Mercosur, USA, Mexico. There is an economic crisis, we know very well. We mustn't lose more jobs in the agriculture, in general, not to lose more jobs in Europe. Why the Agri Committee is try to moderate but preserve the essence of the Commission's proposals. We invited to the Socialist group, because in the Socialist group it was a very big debate. It was a tight vote about the greening. We invited two commissioners, Mr. Potočnik and Mr. Cioloș. And I should refer here to the request on behalf of Mr. Cioloș. Really, it is a compromise, but we cannot risk, because if there is no greening, it won't be a reform of the common agricultural policy. Next week, we will see whether this compromise can receive the majority in the plenary or not. It is a very big challenge for the farmers of Europe? I think so. Thank you very much.
Very good. Very good. Well, the Parliament, very dynamic, but in terms of our seminar, I think they don't have any issue with the policy targets. It's the way they're implemented in terms of ecological focus areas, the rotation they have an issue with, and also the fact that you're asking farmers to do more things with less money, which is a problem for them as well. Let's